Another great little feature, but very powerful one inside of Marvelous, is the zipper. To make a zipper, we need to select the right tool first, and as we can see, there is now some dotted lines on the garments, and this is basically an indication for us to know where the zipper can be placed. To place the zipper, we need to click somewhere on those dotted lines. So in my case, I'll click here, and as we move, we see a new line, a blue line, and we simply need to select where the zipper is going to end and double click in this position. The line changes color. It means that the first one is the first zipper tape is done, and now we need to make the second one. The cool thing about some of the features in Marvelous is that if, for example, we clicked somewhere here, and as we move it down, there's going to be a little guide for us showing where the zipper needs to end if we want those tapes to match. As you can see, there's a little blue dot, and the end of the zipper snaps in there, so this is very useful. But we'll make something standard. So click here, go down, double click, and immediately the zipper is created. We can also see now that there are those lines, just the same lines when we sew garments together. This means that if we simulate, the zipper will activate, and let's see what happens. So exactly what we would expect when creating a zipper. Now, the thing about this particular element, the slider of the zipper, is that we can use that to change where those edges are going to be sewn together, just like real zipper. So if we click on the slider, we get to see those axes, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more about them later. But for now, we simply need to click on the slider and hold it, and then as we move it on the zipper, as you can see, we have to stay on the zipper itself. We see the slider moving with the mouse cursor. So if I let go somewhere here, some changes happen, and if we simulate again, the zipper opens up. When it comes to properties of the zipper, there are two elements. The first one is the slider and the puller, and the second one is the zipper tape itself. This one is fairly straightforward. One thing to note, though, is that, as you can see, there's a line length in here, but we can't really do anything about it. And if we want to modify the zipper, if we want it to be, let's say, longer, if we want it to be shorter, there's absolutely no way of doing that in terms of some kind of editing tools, because it's just it's something that Marvelous does automatically. There's no such thing as a zipper tape as an object inside of the Marvelous scene. We can select it, but we can't edit it. So if we want to change it in terms of the length, we need to delete this tape or delete the slider. Doesn't matter. It's either one of them will delete the whole thing, and we need to change the length manually by creating a different length of the zipper tape. But going back to the properties, we have the width, and the width will change the width of the zipper tape. Thickness will make it thicker as a piece of geometry or garments. And another thing that is quite interesting is that the zipper tape has a particle distance option. So think about the zipper tape as another piece of garment. It works exactly the same as any garments that we have here. For example, a sleeve is going to have pretty much the same, well, not the same, but similar options as the zipper tape. So if we see something like this, when we have open gaps between the zipper tape and the clothing, it means that there's just not enough resolution for this tape to accommodate those curves. So we can change the particle distance, and now everything is smooth. Then there's the fold, strength, and angle, and this works just like any other line inside of Marvelous Designer. So if I change this to 360, you can see that the zipper opens up, and if I did the opposite, if I set it to 0, it would reverse the angle. So it works exactly like the garments inside of Marvelous Designer. Down here we have the texture, which is this. This is not a piece of geometry as such. This is simply a plane that has a texture applied to it. So we have a standard texture that we can always customize by creating our own texture or by customizing the one that we have in here. Then it's just the standard things, normal map, opacity, and all of that. And unlike buttons, like I said, this is not a properly done piece of geometry. So those zipper teeth, they're not individual objects. So if we change the color in here, the whole tape with the teeth changes colors, unlike buttons where we have the option to change threads individually from the button itself. And at the bottom we have the physical property where we can select presets. Again, just like with any other garments inside of Marvelous Designer, we can choose whatever we want to accommodate the material and the simulation that we are after.
If you enjoy this content or find it useful, please consider supporting me by buying me a cup of coffee via the link in the description.
As for the slider and for the puller, they work as one unit, and in here we have the shape. We can choose from the ones that Marvelous has for the pullers and for the slider, and there's quite a few options to choose from. One thing to note, if with the button we can easily assign a custom button by going into materials and then pressing button and register a button. In Zipper there is no such thing. We can still customize it. We can make our own custom zippers, meaning custom sliders and pullers, but it's a little bit trickier. And to do that, we need to go into our Windows Explorer, and we need to go into our PC and then find the folder where Marvelous Designer keeps all the assets for the program. So in my case, it's a fairly default position. So inside of Marvelous Designer folder, locate the assets version that is the latest one. Go into here, then inside of materials, then hardware and trims, then the zippers, and finally we find all the things that we need. They are not OBJs. For example, if I go into pullers, as you can see, those are not OBJ files, those are ZPL files, and sliders are ZSD files. So it's a little bit trickier to make a custom zipper inside of Marvelous, but it's still possible if you're not satisfied with all of those options that the program provides us by default. Next we have gauge in the specification menu, and gauge is simply the size of the slider and the puller, and we can choose from a few options inside of Marvelous. And if we're not happy with any of those, we can always go into percentage and set something manually, and the gauge window changes to custom. Then we have the fasten zipper option, and as you would expect, if we untick this little box right here and we simulate, the zipper no longer affects the garments in a physical way. So now it's just a cosmetic element on the clothing that doesn't apply any kind of force onto the garments. Then we have the reverse zip direction and move to opposite side. So the last one is fairly simple and easy to understand, and reverse zip direction is well, it simply reverses the direction of the zipper. So if we are making some kind of piece of clothing where we have the zippers going, let's say, from the top, and then we have another zipper going from the bottom, to make it perhaps unique in that sense, we can always come in here and change this the direction of the zipper. We can do the same thing if we select the zipper tape and then right click, and then here we have reverse right click. So if we apply this, nothing really happens because we need to untick this thing and then right click, reverse, and now we have the same effect on the slider. And then we have the standard material properties that are very easy to understand, and we talk about this in a different video. So this little gizmo that we have when we click on the slider, it doesn't really do much. It simply moves the object out of the away from the zipper tape, and my guess, this is for those kind of pieces of clothing that are bulky and fat, and they might be covering the zipper slide at some point, and if we want for the zipper to look realistic, I guess we can move it out of the way. But it's one of those features that I'm not sure why it's here, because as you can see, when we simulate, it just stays on top of the zipper but away from the zipper. So but it's there, and it's one of those options in Marvelous. Then we have if we right click on the zipper slide, we can delete it, which will delete everything. Then we have the flip normal, which will flip the zipper slide. It's not going to flip the direction, it's going to flip it to the other side. So if we want the zipper to be inside out, this is how we do it. Then we can deactivate it, just like with all the rest of the garments in Marvelous. It works the same way. We can freeze it, and we can reset the slider arrangement if we did some kind of modifications and we want to get it back. We can click reset slider arrangements like that. And the last one is again one of those things that is if it's useful. I can't really come up with an example where this can be when this can be useful, because what it does, it hides the slider, and I'm not even sure why, to be honest, because the puller still stays where it is. It's not like the whole thing is hidden, but just one of the elements. But again, it's there, so just keep in mind that you have this option. And when it comes to the zipper tape, if we right click, we have a few options in here as well. So freeze, deactivate, delete, simple. Reverse is something that I already showed, and flip normal is it flips not just the slider individually, but it flips the whole plane on which the zipper tape texture is applied. One thing to keep in mind is that if we want to flip the direction of the zipper, if the zipper is already fastened like so, and we go and we click the zipper tape and then right click and reverse direction, this can cause a lot of problems. As you can see, there's the sewing lines indicate that this will create a bit of a mess. So if we want to change the direction of the zipper and the zipper is already fastened, the best way to do that is to select the zipper slider and reverse the direction this way. And the very last thing to say about the zipper slider is that as you can see, there is a weight in here in the property editor, and this is just like with the buttons. We can customize the weight, and this will affect the simulation. So if you want to make something, I don't know, some kind of effect where you want some kind of detail that is being pulled by something that has weight, you can always come in here and change this to 1 kilogram, and this will affect the simulation and perhaps create something that you were looking for. But this is very experimental. I'm guessing this option was never meant to be used in this way, but it could be something to play with.